So, what I wanted to talk to you about this time around, I'm still sort of staying on the route that I was beginning, but particularly this weekend, I took my family to a very famous Italian restaurant on Long Island. I'm not going to name names, but it also has to be one of my favorite places in the world, and so I think it's appropriate to talk about this. Um, and these are points I was going to get to anyway, but I just happened to go there, and so this is a good starting point. Um, so obviously, it's a restaurant. The food has to be good. If you know anything about Long Island, New York, Italian restaurants, there's a lot of them, but competition is kind of fierce. There's a lot of Italians um, out in Long Island, and so if the quality is not good, obviously, but there's a lot of Italian restaurants. There's a lot of good ones. But this one's one of my favorites. But also, I will point out really quickly, it's expensive. It's certainly not the cheapest. It's probably one of the most expensive Italian restaurants on Long Island. And I go there, though, with great joy. I spend a lot of money, and I always leave a huge tip. And so, one of the questions is why? And let's look at this. So, food is great. I mean, and that's part of it. So, and I'll relate this back to the martial arts business as I go along, I guess. But it has a theme, a very specific theme. It's kind of like a throwback to the good old days kind of thing. Like 30s, 40s, 50s, kind of the supper club, old Little Italy, which kind of doesn't exist anymore. So you walk in and the decor is perfect. I mean, it's just beautiful and it's comfortable. You sit down in these booths and they're stuffed and they're really comfortable and the tables are big so you don't feel like you're cramped. Sometimes you go in these little restaurants and by the time they bring you your second dish you can't figure out where to put it. And we had like 3-4 appetizers, we had 2 or 3 main dishes. I'm there with my wife and my kids. It's comfortable, it's beautiful, the music choices are perfect. Very obviously Sinatra and other Italian singers, popular songs from the 40s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. Nice music, immaculately clean. You go into the bathrooms, immaculately clean. And then the customer service there is just astounding. The very first time I was there, we ordered some appetizers, and the waitress says, we're really well known for this appetizer that you guys didn't order. Oh, well, I guess next time we'll have to order it. A couple minutes later, she came down and put it down on the table and said, we comped it. We just wanted you to try it. Gave us a full order, free, 100% free. It's brilliant on so many levels. It really is, because I was definitely going to come back. For the server, I was definitely going to give her a good tip. But again, I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell people about this. And I've told tons of people about this place. I'm not going to talk about it in the podcast, but I do recommend people go to this place all the time. It's the perfect experience. And it's the kind of thing where, if you're a married person, my wife was super happy. She talked about it on the ride home. She talked about it the next day. We talked about it a day afterwards. It's just the kind of perfect experience. So what I want you to think about is, are you providing that kind of experience when people walk into your martial arts school? Well, the food, right? The instruction. And I often comment, people say to me, like, oh, when they give me compliments about, well, thank you if you give me a compliment. I'm happy that you're happy. But I consider what I do my profession. And I take my profession very seriously. I sometimes wonder how seriously some people that call themselves martial arts instructors take what they're doing. If you're in the restaurant industry, like I said, if the food is no good, then there's no hope. And the better your food is, the better you're going to do. The better your instruction is, and not just understand me, because we're going to get to that, at one point I'm going to get to that so what episode. If you've done any kind of consulting with me before, so what? Good instruction doesn't mean like, you're the 36th inheritor of Damo from Shaolin. It means absolutely none of that. It is the experience, the teaching, including the way you teach and how you are as a teacher. But again, if your classes are no good, and we'll have a whole separate podcast about your classes themselves. But if your classes are no good, you're doomed. But let's say your classes are good. Maybe in your region there's three or four other schools. I'm in Manhattan, so there's like 100 other schools, and they have good classes too. Well, how do you elevate yourself? How do you scale yourself, so to speak? Well, what's your facility like? Um, People made fun of me because I got like little doormats with my logo on it, and so when you first walk in, you see the mat, and then when you walk into the changing rooms, you see the mat. Um, but very, very, very simply, um, it adds to the thing. Obviously, I went to a lot of trouble with my decor, what my gym looks like. I put up certain certificates in certain places, um, certain artwork in certain places. I have a full pro shop. Um, all these things are to make the experience. Music. Now, I admit there was a time when I didn't play any music because I was a martial arts gym. Didn't like that. And then I started doing fitness. I only did it in my fitness. And now I do it in pretty much everything except my Kung Fu classes. Um, and sometimes I don't do it in the Sandan Muay Thai classes if we're like doing a lot of coaching during it, obviously, because you can't hear the coaching. But generally speaking, basic classes, I want to play music. Um, you have to be very careful about your music choices. Popular music these days, some of it can be quite vulgar, for lack of a better word. But yet, people like some of that music. So you have to sort of um, keep an eye on what the top 40 is at the time. And, also mix it up. I always like to put some old stuff in, some entertaining stuff, some stuff I like too. Um, Different stuff. Because I have a Korean wife, I use a lot of K-pop, which is interesting because it's good music. It's the kind of music that's good to work out with, but also people haven't heard it before, so it's brand new. And then people go, "What is that? What is that?" So again, you're the experience, the ambiance when you walk in. The classes have to be good, but before you even get to the classes, in other words, before I even got to the food, I walked in that restaurant. Oh, look, it's really nice looking, and I was greeted. Good customer service. So school design. A lot of you already have your schools set up. And, I don't know who set them up. I don't know how they were set up. But ideally, you want your front desk right when people walk in. You want to be facing people. Even if you were sitting there not expecting anyone and they walked in, they should be right in front of you. And you should greet them. That's the experience. They should come in, the space should look nice. It shouldn't look like a dungeon. It shouldn't look like a man cave. I put up that picture in the group of the folding chairs. It shouldn't look like, there's numerous stories about scams where you'd walk into an office and basically all they'd have is a desk and chairs, and you'd come back to that office in 2 or 3 days and they just picked up the desk and the chairs, like those desks you just buy in the furniture store, and plop them down. We used to use those desks all the time before we started building out a desk. We didn't know any better. Build a desk. Have real seating if you're going to have seating. I only cater to adults. I don't have seating because I don't have spectators. But if you have children's classes, you have to have people sitting and spectating. The parents must be there. But have a couch as opposed to folding chairs. Not something that looks like, if you just have mats on the floor and folding chairs and just paint on the walls, you could pick up and leave. You could collect a whole bunch of money from people and pick up and leave overnight. And martial arts schools have done this. Don't be that way. So, the decor, the experience, the customer service. Give people a free bottle of water if it's their first class. I used to do a thing where I had towel service. It became problematic because people stole the towels. But in general, you try to make your experience as pleasant as possible. The best customer service. So that not only did you remember the workout, you remembered the facility, you remembered the people being friendly. If you run the right kind of culture, your members will help do your sales because your members will be part of the experience. So, you know, the idea is to get metaphorically someone that's willing to pay your price and willing to tip. That pay, stay, and refer. You want somebody to pay, you want them to join, you want them to stay, keep paying you. And you want them to say to people, I do this thing, it's so great. You have to come and do it with me. Pay, stay, and refer. Get used to that. And so, um, think about that. Think about the restaurant experience. Think about your martial arts school, and think if they line up. Think about ways that you can. We said paint, coat of paint. Instead of having your place, the worst is people that just paint everything white, so it looks like a hospital. But you can have different walls, different colors. Have what they call an accent wall. Um, Simple stuff. You can get like little decals. You can get, there are things that I will tell you definitely have to do. Don't tape things. Everything should be in a frame. Everything, even if it's just like a plastic frame on the wall. Keep everything clean. But if you have like little details, add those little details. Um, since I have a Chinese martial arts background, I have a lot of Chinese kind of stuff. When I first opened in the franchise days, I came up with this kind of what I call faux Buddhist temple thing. And I keep elements of it. I don't want it to look too religious because I'm not selling religion and I don't want to turn anyone off. But everybody digs a little bit of that Oriental mysticism, which is an incorrect term, but forgive me for now. But people love the mystery of Asia, the exoticness of Asia. I think that's fair to say. And again, I'm not trying to insult anybody. So again, I know that's a completely incorrect term, but I think if you're listening to this, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Also, and I'm going to have a whole separate podcast, probably several of them about this. Start defining what you're about. In other words, have that theme. Are you a karate school, like a traditional karate school? Are you a modern karate school? Are you a sport taekwondo school? Are you a Korean, self-defense, kuksowan, hapkido kind of school? Are you a kung fu school? Are you a Muay Thai school? Are you an MMA gym? And an MMA gym doesn't have to be a dirty, filthy, man cave. But I think one of the biggest mistakes the martial arts industry made was convincing people that they should be something to everyone. Here's used to get these. Well, they used to be VHS tapes, and then they became CDs. You get them in the mail every month, from your local billing company. Add an artist class. Have you ever done stick fighting before? No. But watch this 20-minute tape, and suddenly you're able to run a stick fighting class. Or add Tai Chi. You've never done Tai Chi before, you're a karate instructor, but pretend you're a Tai Chi instructor. It's unethical, and people are not that dumb. They pick up on it. They can feel it. Do what you're good at. And instead of trying to be something to everyone, be everything to someone. Develop a program and don't focus on the people. It's sometimes it's hard dealing with people. Let's just be perfectly honest. Some people are very difficult to deal with, and you have bad days. And sometimes people come in and you're like, what the hell is this person even doing here? Don't fixate on them. Fixate on the people that are going to join, that are going to be in class 2 or 3 times a week, that are going to love it. They're going to refer people that pay, stay, and refer. Those people. And build up every month more and more and more of them, and build a like community within your school. Do not try to, get every person that walks in the door. Somebody that has no interest in martial arts, they just want to sweat and lose 5 pounds, or they just want to socialize and meet a bunch of like people, 20-something people, so they can talk about Coachella, which is an inside joke. But, you don't need those people unless that's what you want to do. But then your entire gym is going to be that. And then if you want to have serious martial arts programs, if you want to have serious kickboxing programs, you want to do Muay Thai, you want to do MMA, those are not those people. Find out what you are and be the best of what you are and create your entire experience around that. In other words, if I had walked into that Italian restaurant and they had like pictures of women doing hula, and grass skirts up on the wall and played Hawaiian music, I'd be like, what's going on here? Just like, if I walked into a Chinese restaurant and they're playing Frank Sinatra, I'm not sure what the point is. Um, Figure out who you are, create the experience around that, and have the best experience possible in every aspect. In every aspect. So, um, if you have questions on this, you can always post them in the group. Um, I always say that people seem to be shy. Please don't be shy. Post questions if you have them. And have a great morning.